U.S. stocks sagging in the final minutes of trading, ending the day with losses. Deborah Kostroun has the latest from the New York Stock Exchange. Couldn't hold on to it by the end of the day, Deb.
We couldn't, Julie. And, the big story was actually the trading volume today. We saw our lightest trading volume so far this year, with only 783 million shares being traded, and that's well below the 1 billion average that we typically see here at the New York Stock Exchange. So not a lot of conviction in the market, and really no one wanting to make any major bets, especially as we have so many uncertainties out there with Libya and, of course, about whether Japan can contain the hazardous materials around those nuclear plants. Julie?
Well, what about consumer stocks? Interesting here because on the one hand, we saw some economic data that showed consumer spending was actually up last month, but the consumer stocks didn't trade like you would expect.
Right. We got this positive report on consumer spending. Consumer spending rose the most since October and more than forecast in February as incomes climbed. And that was actually good news, but maybe actually a little bit surprising because, remember, consumers are dealing with higher food and fuel costs. So traders saying that they were actually encouraged that spending is still higher, especially in the face of those higher gas prices. But yes, those consumer discretionary stocks were the biggest drags today. Marriott really the big reason for that. The stock fell the most in 5 months after saying growth in revenue per available room will be at the low end of its forecast because of weak North American demand, and that led other hotel stocks lower. Marriott and Starwood were actually the two biggest drags in the S&P today. But there were some winners. Take a look at AT&T, the biggest gainer in the Dow after an upgrade from Robert W. Baird. But certainly AT&T wasn't enough to hold on to gains for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Julie, back to you.
It was not. Thanks a lot, Deborah. Appreciate it. Deb Kostroun at the New York Stock Exchange.